All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Pirate101 campaign. Last time we defeated the final boss. Uh, if you guys want, you can recap how that session went, or if you want, you can have me do it.
How about we let you do it?
Yeah.
I think it's fitting.
Yeah, I think so too. But I don't know, someone might want to reroll. So, last time, our wonderful heroes made their way after Meowiardi, who had escaped them 2 sessions prior, and they finally finished Meowiardi off and retrieved the Necronomicon from him. And just as the man that they talked to in the replay crystal told them, Kronos appeared no sooner than they had acquired it, and told them some ominous things about whether they might live or die in the coming battle before disappearing. Deciding that they would heed the advice of the man in the replay crystal, they ignored Kronos's prophecies and continued forward and went into battle against Malister and his 2 Violet Fungus Necrohulks. And it was a long and harrowing battle that ensued from there, where we had a few characters go down, started getting really low on resources, and pushed to the limit before Faris was finally able to talk his father down from his plan, and his father used the Eye of Bartleby to see if what Faris was telling him might have credence. And it seems the Eye agreed with Faris, because he backed off and backed out. And thus the ritual was broken, and you guys saved the spiral from the Dragon Titan being awakened, and Tiamat continues to sleep once again. And we are now on the following day, while you are presumably going back to the academy, where you are going to go back to Thurgy, I believe.
Yes.
Yep, pretty much.
And so we will pick up there. So, as you make your way to the academy, you notice a few foxes hanging around the area. And among them is Bonnie Ann. Though, unlike last time, it seems like she has much fancier equipment than she had before. And she spots you coming back down the mountain and says, "Whatever was going on out there, I hope that you stopped that."
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think so.
I mean, at the very least, it seems like the spiral itself is not being pulled into the center of that thing. Well, to the spire, I mean.
No, I think we got everything under control here.
Yeah. We were held up at the Athenum fighting against the Draconians for a few days, but seems like you got ahead of us.
Yeah,
Looks
we
like
teleported.
it.
What
Well-
are what else are you doing here?
Oh, we were supposed to scout out the area, supposedly by a request by you, actually. That's what Lana told us.
Yeah, we were on kind of a time crunch, and we made a beeline here.
Yeah, I didn't mean to steal your thunder or anything. It's just the way things happened.
Well, I'm glad that you figured something out. To be honest, this whole area here was very difficult to rest in, and Malister's just kind of staring at this thing, kind of like poker facing, knowing he was definitely the guilty party for what they're talking about here.
Yeah. Well, I honestly, I wouldn't expect any less from Dragonspire.
Yeah,
Even on his good days.
Yeah. If you stopped what you sent us out to investigate, then I think that we should return back where we came, right?
Yes, where are we going to head first, guys? Should we go to Marleyboom or Thurgy? Because I probably want to go pick up Meg and Max probably wants to see his parents, but we could drop by Thurgy first.
Yeah, I'll get home eventually. Just, let's get you taken care of.
Yeah.
The Thurgy Stormgate is nearby anyway.
Yes. Where is it? We came in that way as I readjust my hands, try to find northwest.
Yeah. Malister begins to fill in the remaining storm gates on your map.
Weird that we didn't see this one here.
There's a connection to Darkmoor from here.
That explains a lot, to be honest.
Yes. That's how we considered going that way, but it seemed like Mushu was a bit more agreeable, if you can call them agreeable.
Really, I would have took my luck with the vampires instead of Mushu.
Well, we did have a cleric with us. However, as you can see, he's not with us any longer. Draconians do not take kindly to anyone who worships any god other than theirs, we'll say.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
That being said, I do have one question for you concerning El Dorado. Now that you've cleaned this up, what are you going to do about that?
Well, I guess it's just next on the checklist.
Still
But
don't know how to get there.
Yeah. So we're probably going to take some downtime to maybe find a way.
Regroup a little bit. We've been through so much over the past... Oh gosh, how long has it been, guys? Almost a year?
More than a year, I think.
Really?
Yeah, that
Has
would.
been quite a while.
Yes, I believe I met the rest of you summer of last year, which is soon to come. Well, summer of this year is soon to come. Well, I'll report back to Marleybone. And in the meantime, well, good luck in clergy and taking your well-earned rest.
Thanks.
Yeah, good luck to you too.
All right, and Malistaire will offer to teleportation circle you to the Basilica, and if that's what you want to do, and then continue back to Thurgy.
Yeah, if that's
Yeah.
faster way, then yeah, that would be good.
Yeah. So, over the course of the next 10 days is how long it takes for you to reach Thurgy, and specifically Ravenwood. And we'll fast forward to that point. And after coming out of Dragonspire, the air is much fresher here, and getting closer to Bartleby alone makes the spring all that much more apparent, as this is where that season begins in the spiral. And as you continue up to the school, it does not take long before entering the campus grounds that your uncle and the headmaster notice Malister is with you.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
yeah, the headmaster comes over to you, and Malister rather quickly, and says, "Malister, you have some nerve coming back here after what you've done to the lives of our students and destroying one of our campus buildings, poisoning the great tree."
Just just wait a second for the reprimanding. We have something that we'd like to bring back. Signaling to the eye.
Yeah, and Malister, he doesn't really flinch when the headmaster says it. He just kind of like takes it and he nods and says, "I've done many damages, but I also see that you have done little to undo the harm that I've caused Bartleby. I never had any intention of killing him, as it would undo this spiral, but I have brought back what I took from him and intend to undo that harm. His eye has shown me that there may be another way to save the humans." The headmaster just has his brows furrowed and says, "And what made you want to bring him back here, you five?"
Well, because we didn't kill him.
We're hedging our bets on a better future, and if we don't take any risks, what example do we set?
Like, yeah, I understand he's not. He's done some pretty bad stuff, but he's also powerful. And he understands what we are going to be fighting against more than any of us. And like Daelen said, we need to take a risk to find out anything about this. Otherwise, I think we're just going to be sitting around twiddling our thumbs.
What are your thoughts on this, Cyrus? He gestures to your uncle.
And Cyrus, he looks there more perturbed and kind of looks to Malister. Just not even a single word this whole time. You never even told anyone your intentions. You just left all this destruction. And now you've come back.
Cyrus, you were there when Dragon's Spire fell. And you know that there are people lost that could not be brought back. At first, we thought it was the Draconians, but I see now that it was a different force in the spiral that was taking use of all of the death and decay, bringing an entire race under his web. And I sought to undo it by any means necessary. But I knew that none of you would agree with my tactics to take the eye, to try to learn of the best alternative, best Titan to waken in order to defeat him and still have some solace. And I admit, that path would never have been a pleasant one. But I thought if we were going to live under the shadow of a Titan, it might as well have been one of our choosing. However, thanks to the efforts of my son, it seems that another path may be possible.
And Cyrus kind of looks back to you guys. Oh, won't lie, you've all surprised me in that regard.
Well, we try.
Yeah, stopping a Death Titan is just another weekend for us. So
That he kind of just shakes his head.
Yeah, so does Malice. They're almost like in unison.
I don't think stopping any Titan would have been some easy feat. Hence, Malister's right in the idea of choosing a Titan, as much as I disagree. I don't think any Titan should have ever woken.
What about Bartleby?
His is a special case.
I assume because he made the spiral, he kind of is stuck in a state of inaction, so to speak.
Well, that part of it is thanks to Malister's poisoning of him. But Bartleby sought to end the fighting between the Titans. between him and Lord Kennel, it was accomplished for a period of time, at least to the elemental titans. But yes, he has not proven to have the motives to undo the world that he has created, and he continues to give his life out to others, rather than take them as the other titans have done.
Speaking on that subject, though, how did the Death Titan get loose anyway? If Bartleby put them all to sleep, then how did that one slip through?
The Death Titan did not fall asleep. At first, it seemed he was compliant with the wishes of Lord Kennel and Bartleby, but as time progressed, he continued his path until Lord Kennel decided that she would combat him directly. And she sealed him away inside of Darkmoor, but at the cost of her own life.
Unfortunately so.
Yes. But I suppose if you five vouch for him, we will allow Malistaire to stay, albeit under watch.
I'll leave it up to you to decide what's the best thing to do with him. I'm not going to involve myself with it.
Daelen looks at Faris and like just says,
Yeah.
"Well, if he gets loose again, we'll just have to do it all over again, I guess."
Yeah. But I trust you won't do it again. But yes, you will be kept under watch nonetheless, if that's what you require.
Headmaster Ambrose nods. And then Malistaire turns to Max and says, I request the Necronomicon in order to right some of the wrongs done here.
Max takes it out, looks at it, and looks back and forth between him and the Necronomicon a few times before handing it over. Alright, I'll trust you with it. Just don't do anything bad with it this time, okay? Don't, give it to any assassins or anything like that.
Well, I did that as an artifact. I could only attune myself to one at a time. And I needed the eye in order to continue the rite. But now, it's time that we restored part of Bartleby, I think. So you have, this eye that's a few feet in diameter.
Feet.
A few feet? That thing is huge.
Yeah, are you sure about that?
A few feet in
It's like a-
diameter. You might mean to say it's like a foot in diameter, not a couple.
Basketball.
It's basketball. And he casts levitate on it and slowly begins to put it in like the socket where it used to be. And then using some pages from turning to some pages in the Necronomicon, you see he begins casting spells to have it grow back into place. And eventually Bartleby's eyes open and he blinks a few times and he looks at Malice there and says, "The figure that haunts my dreams now comes
Just-
to heal me."
Yes, just healed you. Welcome back, Bartleby.
And he looks at the rest of you and says, "I remember speaking to individuals who wished to save me, but their names and faces are hazy. Your voices are familiar."
Yeah, that was us.
Thank
Welcome
you
back.
for restoring my eye of the future. And he kind of goes back to old man sleep. And Alistair says, "It will take some time to heal the poison, but this is a good start."
Yeah. I might have a few questions for him. So is he like resting then?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
resting for a bit.
Okay.
Though if you wanted to ask him questions, you could like probably do that tomorrow.
Okay.
And then Alistair will say, "Well, I will stay here in 3rd for the time being and continue to heal him, and when I'm done, I'll continue research on Old Cobb, the spider, or otherwise known as the Death Titan."
Well, I will probably be back to help you with that.
If everything goes right, we might even have a way to kill him.
How ironic.
That is ironic. Death to a death god.
I think that stranger things have already occurred.
Agreed.
Like, I think we should make sure truly killing this thing wouldn't upset any sort of balance, because the world needs death just as much as it needs life.
That
That's a
is
good
something that our research will continue to have to monitor.
Well, What now?
I believe we're gonna go to Marleybone.
Yep.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
but before I go, there's like a graveyard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I took like a piece of my mother's tombstone and I just kind of put it back.
Yeah. Alistair doesn't really accompany you, but he does more or less observe.
But I just kind of set it there and just join with the rest of my friends.
All right. And are you gonna go? Yeah. There's only really one way to Marleybone, so it might be a difficult journey for you.
Unless there's a montage.
Yep.
There are a couple of ways there. None of them are good.
Yeah.
Which bad way in do you want to take?
Probably through Avalon.
We'll just get lost for 2 weeks, but then we'll get through it eventually.
Yeah, so it's gonna be roughly a month later that you make it to Marleybone.
Wow, a month. Okay.
It's 3 worlds. Yeah, I guess being more like 20 days.
All right.
And you're at Marleybone.
How's the state of the war looking when we come in?
Well, with Beachhead gone, it's looking pretty good.
You know, it's almost weird coming through here without cannonballs flying everywhere.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's a good sign, though. Maybe my parents can finally get out of those barracks and go back home.
Honestly, now that Malister and Moriarty, or Meowiarty, are taken care of, they probably can go home.
I'm sure
Weird,
they're gonna
but
be glad to hear that.
it is weird, but very refreshing.
All right. And so you're gonna go visit Lana to elect your friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And so Meg is the first to say, "Well, how'd it go?"
We did it!
Well, yeah, we did it.
Kind of.
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of.
Well, it's like a cooking recipe, right? You like, it's in the oven right now still. It's still good. I don't know where I'm going with this.
I was
We
expecting
ate-
a poetic explanation there, Faris.
Well, a long story short, fade to black and fade to black back.
Wow, that was a short story.
It felt like it was so much longer and had so much more detail, didn't it?
Yeah, well, that's what happened.
Well, I guess you're gonna take me back to... Well, I suppose the Marleybonians might be able to give me some passage to Wisteria.
Is that where you want to go?
I mean, that's where we were before all this. It was Pigswick.
Yeah. But I am sort of expelled there. I don't know. They'll probably will pardon me since the reason I did get expelled is... No, I still stole. And I sort of have other obligations with my dad back in 3rd G.
Well, someone needs to tell Professor Orafor how you're doing.
So is that where you want to go back to? I'm not saying I'm gonna be gone forever or anything. It's just I have some things to do there in 3rd G.
I'll consider going there, but I think for the time being, Wisteria deserves to know that I'm alive, you're not a crook, and Professor Oraford, I think, deserves to know that you didn't perish on one of your grandiose adventures.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Faris enough.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, she snorts a little bit.
Fair is fair.
And Max, your parents are also come out as well after a little bit, seemingly in a like deeper, more secure location. And they come up and give you hugs and your dad says, well, they tell me that you did it.
Yep, he's gone.
You should be all good to go.
Yeah. I'm sorry I didn't let your son get the killing blow, but I just sort of dropped him in lava. I apologize.
Honestly, I'm completely fine with it. The way he was exploded was pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm stuck that you probably didn't want to hear about that.
Yeah, all you hear what you hear behind his fingers is just, we really should have investigated the neighbors more.
Daelen puts upon his like face as well and is like, Max really has no like sense of like reading the room.
Oh, sorry. I mean, when you do the kind of stuff I do, I mean, yeah, a lot of it was accidents at first, but I mean, you just kind of get used to it.
You're not helping your case, by the way.
I think it's an art, personally, Max.
Thank you, Quin. Thank you.
Well, we have a bunch of time to work on it, and like Daelen ruffles Max's hair or something.
I guess everyone should just be happy I'm on their side, huh?
Yep.
Yes.
Indeed, we are.
Yes. Well, I suppose the good news is more or less a military contractor now, making sure that their funding is going into the right places, making sure that what we're pulling back from the Armada is being well taken care of. They tell me that the fighting continues on in Fadoston, which I suppose makes sense. They've had that territory the longest, but I'd say taking it from everywhere to just there is a vast improvement.
Oh yeah, definitely. Have you got a whole bunch of foxes on the force now? I believe Bonnie was part of it now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Lana tells you, yes, your recommendation and her performance against Kieran gave us the idea to experiment with that concept. So currently she is the one and only unit, but seems there's still some way to go with the idea. They did not go as quickly as we were hoping with the Dragonspire expedition.
Well, I've been thinking about moving back here to be closer to my parents. You see them almost get killed one time, and you kind of want to spend more time with them after that. Can you believe that, huh? But, maybe I could help train some of them up. I'm pretty good at all this, stuff myself.
Train the spies.
Yeah, training spies. That would be something I could do. I mean, after all, I can do this now, and he just turns invisible for a couple of seconds.
Yes. I suppose that would be quite helpful, particularly because it seems that Miss Anne has been looking for a way off of her team.
Hang on. Quill has forgotten. Quill does not recognize that name.
Bonnie,
Bonnie Anne.
Oh, Miss
Bon-
Anne. Okay.
Yeah.
to get back with her old crew, I guess.
I believe so. Though I think that she just misses Skull Island, personally.
Oh, right, Skull Island. I kind of need to get my stuff from there if I can move back here.
You only have a lot of boxes. You can get more boxes here.
They are my box collection, Daelen. Do you know how long it's taken me to get all of those?
Like 2 weeks.
No, these were boxes from before I even met you guys. Some of them aren't even made of cardboard. Some of them are made out of more sturdy stuff.
Okay.
I mean, I gotta sell the house anyway.
Hopefully you don't have any HOA fines either.
Well, if Avery's been keeping up his end of the deal, then hopefully all the lawn has been mowed and the place looks presentable.
If he's been keeping up on it, you might be able to make a pretty penny when you sell it.
Ooh, yeah, hopefully. Probably need it to get some place to live here.
I mean, if nothing else, you can probably bunk somewhere.
Mom,
with
Dad,
me,
can I
but,
stay with you guys for a little bit when I get back?
Yes, though it sounds like you now require a storage unit for your collection.
Well, I mean, I just need to get them, really. I mean, they're boxes. You can put them inside of each other.
Yes, though I have a feeling that you may have accrued enough that it might not fit in our apartment.
Maybe?
I think we've got to go back to Skull Island too, just to drop off Renyal.
Yeah. He's a special one. I can't keep him. I mean, I don't want Eldritch Horrors knocking everything around whenever it pleases.
Well, I'm sure the witch doctors will be more than happy to take him.
Well, have fun getting paperwork for Mushu, because that's the fastest way there.
Do you think you could help us with that, Lana?
Yes, I think I can procure something for that.
Round trip, right?
Well, I can only get you to and from Marleybone, but yes.
Alright. Hopefully I won't be gone more than a month.
Yeah, and your dad says that's about how long I expect it would take to go there and back again with no complications.
Well, you do what you gotta do, I guess.
I will probably remain here for now. You can take care of that.
Oh, alright. Going back to business?
Yeah, I think we can both prepare a little bit for the future, as well as catch up with Fiona and, you know, everything that's been going around here.
Max nods in agreement.
When you come back, we can maybe do something together, but yeah.
I'm thinking McWandles.
Oh yeah. Sure.
McWandles was in Wisteria.
I think you
Surely
mean
they've got a branch here.
No, they have dairy matriarchs here.
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah, Dairy Matriarch.
Okay, Dairy Matriarch then.
But yeah.
And this is where kind of Rodolfo more or less steps in and says, as sad as it is to say, that it might be best that we start going our separate ways from here then.
Where do you intend to go?
Well, Valencia still needs me. The Armada still has Skyforge to handle, and now that I've helped you against the Titan, as you've said, and I've accompanied you this far, Valencia is on the way back. So for me, this is the place that I think it would be best for me to leave you. After all, we've certainly done enough damage to them that they will have complications out in deep space, but we will never know their fate completely. So now is the time that we must ready ourselves for the near future, and that time is now for my people.
Well, I'm sure with you there, you'll keep them under control until we get all regrouped to take them out for good.
Well, you're not going back by yourself, Rodolfo. I am also planning on returning to Valencia. This, with Kane gone, this is a golden opportunity for us to fight back and free Valencia. Plus, no offense to you and your efforts, Rodolfo, but the Resistance seem to be struggling a little bit, and I'd like to help them out a little bit.
Well, I did a lot of training in 3rd. It was good to catch up with Diego while we were there, while you were yelling to old geezers, but I agree. It will be a pleasure to serve with you towards liberating our people. And it was an honor fighting alongside the cleanup crew.
Yes, and if any of you are ever bored or perhaps want a bit of cash, well, we got a bit of a war if you want to help out. Might be able to scrounge some funds for you as well to join in. But only if you're not occupied with your own matters.
Well, I think some people here in Marleybone would... Those willing to just push them back further would be willing to help.
Yeah, you might see me every once in a while. Assuming this whole spy training thing works out.
That would be fantastic, Max. Especially since, well, I'm thinking we'll need to do another infiltration mission. If we can get into Kane's desk, we might be able to track down that last Windstone.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Speaking of which, where should we leave these things?
It honestly might be safer for each of us to take one, but
Well, I mean, this is a secure military installation. It might be a good idea to just leave them here.
Well,
if you feel like that's the safest bet.
I think
yes.
we're ultimately all gonna go to El Dorado eventually, so I think keeping them all with each of us. We have 5, right?
You have 6.
We have 6. Well, I think each of us can hold one, because it's probably not wise to keep them all in one place.
All right.
Exactly.
I have to agree with Faris here on this one. Plus, giving that much power to Marleybone makes me a little uncomfortable.
Well, don't worry, I can take one of them as well. I was planning on going on vacation to some nice beach in Aquila.
You won't gamble it away, will you?
No, I won't do anything like that.
Okay.
You won't sell it for pickled herring either, will you?
No, I was thinking that I could work with Vaso for a bit. You know, my old captain. I don't need any more excitement, and gambling is a form of that. I think it's take it easy until you inevitably knock on the door and tell me that the world's over and you demand my services.
Okay, well, I guess I'll trust you, and I'll give him one of them.
Just don't let Vaso lose that. He's got a track record of losing those things.
You have a good point. With all due respect, I think it might be best to be in the hands of young Faris. If you are studying with your father after this, you might be able to learn the most about them. After all, he was using them in that crazy ritual of his. Perhaps there's more to these than meets the eye that you could learn being next to Bartleby.
Well, that is a very good point that I'm surprised you came up with.
Well, every once in a while I do take stock of magical affairs. I'm no expert, but...
All right,
you know.
then. Yeah, then I'll take it.
I'm still gonna go on vacation, right?
Yes, you can go on vacation, but it's not paid.
Well, the good news is that we've hit the end of the month, so you have to pay me anyway.
Yeah, how much was it again?
220, I think.
I give them 2,200.
Oh, yeah, I think that this'll... I don't even think I'll have to work until you break down the door now.
Well, maybe that's for the best, huh?
Yeah, perhaps. Although, I think I can hire a ship with this while we're out here. I think it's a little bit closer to Aquila.
Okay, well,
I think you cut out, Crow. I don't know if you can even hear me right now.
Yeah, seems so.
uh-oh.
Oh, there you are.
There you are.
Oh, we'll look at it as advance pay.
Yes, yeah. I'll have to say it was kind of nice to be the White Knight instead of the dashing pirate for once.
Well, enjoy your time off. Now you'll just be I don't know, lounging on a beach or something. Is that what you're gonna do?
Yeah. Maybe I can even get a tan.
No. You have fur. Never mind.
What about you, Devin and Eckerd? Where are you off to?
Skull Island has connections to El Dorado. We might be able to find a way in from there. Or, well, some information anyway.
That's very true. I'm sure the people will be happy to have you again, as well. If it's anything to you, I plan on also looking more at Lord Lorenzo's study. I can see if I can find anything else in my spare time on what may have happened to you two, and on El Dorado in general as well.
Yeah. Well, here's hoping you find something.
Yes, I'll let you know if I find anything. It's the least I can do for you, finding me and saving me all those years ago. I deeply appreciate that. You gave me a new life that, well, I wasn't expecting to have.
That wasn't me, but I certainly have been glad that there's at least one person, at least one good thing to come out of everything the Armada's done.
You and me both.
All right. So you split up from here, and
Yeah.
is there anything you want to do in Skull Island?
I'll drop off the chest. Oh, you're talking
Yeah.
now.
Not
And it's still stuck to Rapa Nui a year later. The map, I mean.
not anything super specifically. I think my first stop is going to be, at least as soon as I can get to them, the witch doctors. Figure they're probably the ones most likely to be able to help with what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and the sanctum has grown and so forth, so their research has also kind of been kicking off a little bit since the Armada's been putting less reinforcements into Zolakul, but they still have a presence there as well.
Yeah, probably part of what I'll be doing here is trying to drive them out the rest of the way, but we'll see.
Right. Yeah, and then if there's nothing else, we will more or less fast forward to the part where you're all in separate places. And the amount of what you accomplish and choose to do after that. And some people would roll initiative or go down Discord order, but I'm going alphabetically to shake things up. So we're gonna start with Daelen. So, Daelen, during the time that has passed, what do you do?
So, first of all, he would, after we split up, he would go back and while going back to Fiona's shop now, reminisce about the adventures we had, and when he gets to the door at that point, he hesitantly just knocks on the door and waits.
Yeah. And you wait for a couple minutes, and then she opens the door and kind of, I assume you kind of tell her what's happened since then.
Yeah, he would say that, hey, I'm back, for real this time, like third time's the charm, or something like that.
Yeah, I never thought you'd become an adventurer.
Neither did I, honestly. But we've been in some crazy circumstances, so. And yeah, I would tell her about, just like in short for now, about like man-eating plants and brains on legs and shutdown of magic completely and stuff like that.
Well, that is quite exciting, but you decided to stay here and talk with me, so there's gotta be something going on in that head of yours.
I've got some plans for what we can do in the future, but for now, we're taking some time to prepare and try to figure out what the next steps are. For now, I think I'll be focusing on some work, and seeing as you're the boss now, I guess I have to ask to be employed or something of the sort.
Yeah, she just smiles and says, yeah, you'll need someone to handle the logistics of that again, especially if you intend to leave on another adventure sometime. And she quickly stands up, extends her hand, and says, as fortune would have it, I think there's a spot for a head engineer at the wheel. And she's totally like laying onto the puns you made with your with your company.
Yeah, he just chuckles and like, well, very well, accept.
All right, and as during the time that begins to pass for the foreseeable future, Daelen begins to invent a few different contraptions, and for the sake of ease, I guess I'll explain them. But they were quite detailed. But he makes the spectral taxi, which is kind of like an ATV dinghy that uses spirit crystals to create a spectral horse to carry its passenger on land. And then it pops open a sail and has a shielded windstone that you can like uncover and turn on when you come over sky, so that way it doesn't lose its power over land, which is useful for small vehicles. And then you wanted to go to Grizzleheim as well and do a bit of experimentation there, right?
Yeah. Daelen would basically contact Heidi and send her a sending with just like, I'm planning to visit. Is Dromir still kicking about? I might want to see the old coot for once.
Yeah, and she responds, of course. Feel free to come by the Snow Phoenix anytime.
Yeah, so he would go and basically try to find Dromir. I don't know if Sonic Link has anything that he would want to RP out here, but yeah, I'd basically try and get his help with rune magic to do some stuff on with ships.
Yeah, and with Dramir's help and the the others working at the Snow Phoenix, Heidi's crew. And given some time, Daelen's also able to invent a new class of runes that are able to be utilized on ships, which helps not just Grizzleheim get its economy kickstarted again after the Coven, but also helps with the Marleybonian ships that are going to help the Valencian resistance against Skyforge, which we will probably visit when we get to Quin. And those include the Rune of Conflagration, Orientation, and Dispersal. But those are all things that I will leave to the imagination as to what they do.
Yeah, and I had one more thing, which was I think it was the hill rune that produces good berries, and he would just use that to try and make just like a magic bowl that fills up with good berries one at a time per day, and he'd probably donate that to the orphanage we saw in a while back.
Yeah, the one where you like saw the little bear that confuddled your locate object.
Yeah. But that's it for me, I think.
They're quite appreciative. And so next we will move on to Devin.
Oh.
Now, I guess from what I understand, you've more or less already stated what you were intending to do during the time you get here, right?
Yeah, there's a twofold purpose, although both roles are closely related. Eckert clearly seems to have some sort of, at least there's been strong indications that he has some sort of connection to El Dorado. Possibly even been there before. So the hope is to see if we can get back some of his memories of, or just consult with some Saurian spirits that might be here and try to get an idea of what might be waiting for us when we get there. And then if we happen to, be able to find any information about ways we could potentially get there without the last Black Windstone. There's also been a little bit of a schism between Devin and Eckert after some events that happened during the fight with Malister. Basically, they have started debating the trolley problem with each other. So, like, there were times during that fight where someone in the group was, like, grabbed by one of those necrohulks. And there's this question of, do we try to save that person, or do we just say, there's no time, we have to kill Malister now? And so they've been kind of trying to work that out between them of, what do we do in a situation like that? But yeah, anyway, their main objective here is to, again, try to learn as much as they can about El Dorado.
Yeah. And in part of that, you have the witch doctors using the sanctum and the altar that they have to try to get some spirits to talk to you and other things. And you'll go on the occasional expedition to Zolakul with Bonnie Ann, who seemingly is sent with Avery, as she's picked up where she left off, more or less, though seemingly much more skilled than she used to be. And on one of these occasions, with the witch doctors, you finally get a memory, but it isn't quite the one that you were expecting. Eckert, you quickly get sent back to a time in Skull Island. You can see that Zolakul is around. It still looks like a ruin of some kind, but not quite as old as the modern day. And there's a creature chasing after you in the middle of the night. Though it itself is not hard to spot. It is white with long fangs, and it continues to chase after you. And you remember that it demanded the information that you had on the Saurians. It demanded to know what you had hid from the Death Titan. And you knew that you had spent your life to understand and be accepted by the culture of these people beyond the limitations of their passing, and became what they described as their heir that they never expected that they would have. Eventually, this vampire catches up to you and presents you with a couple options as it disarms you and brings you near to the end. To become ensnared in the web. In other words, to be trapped between a true peaceful afterlife and this one, the purgatory that would later happen to the humans in the fall of Dragonspire. Or to serve the spider. However, instead, you used an option from what they demanded you tell them instead. Using what your friend Zersai taught you from your time learning and investigating the Windstone fragments. You learned how to store your spirit inside of a spirit crystal, which are in abundance in this area. And then, at the time of your demise, you forced your spirit into that crystal, giving the Death Titan a hollow victory. However, the price that you pay with this is if you were to ever leave this crystal, your memories would be lost. And it was something that you debated with when Devin began to fight both the Armada, and the creatures of the forest began to converge on him. You saw he was much like yourself, a worthy person who continued to press on despite the opposition, and you also knew that time was running short. You could tell that Zolakul was beginning to awaken. You don't remember the rest of what that meant to you at the time, but it gave a sense of urgency. And you knew it was your duty to bring down the remorseless who would do harm to others. And so you decided, shattering your memories, you would save Devin's life, and even if subtly and subliminally, help gather your allies to awaken Shabalba. And the vision ends in the sanctum. And if you don't want to, if that's everything, we will switch
Well-
to Faris.
Yeah, I feel like he'd spend a while processing that. And finally, kind of under his breath. So that was what I meant by gathering my allies, huh? Well, guess that means we can't exactly afford to sacrifice them, can we? You were right, Devin. You were right, damn it. Fine. Let's do this.
All right. And we'll move on to Faris then.
All right. So what I would be doing would be going back to Theurgy. Perhaps having to put away my dashing adventuring clothing and have to actually wear like a uniform. I can't hide my pet bat anymore out in the open, which upsets me. But what I kind of wanted to do was maybe crack something on this Necronomicon, because it is a book of necromancy and it's probably therefore connected very closely to Kebab, the Death Titan, and perhaps find some information about it, some weaknesses that has been coming up. The Death Titan seems to be lurking in the shadows of this whole adventure, and it's something I wish to crack with my family, no less. Here with my uncle and my father. I don't know if I'm the one tasked to watch him, or if there's just like a couple of mages just kind of always behind us, like with like counterspell at the ready in case he tries to like dimension door away or something.
Yeah, there's probably a few dudes with shades hanging around with you in eyesight within an arbitrary 60 feet.
Yeah. They're always just like moving with us to like stay within 60 feet.
Yep.
Yeah. And like I'd want his more expertise with it too, because he's kind of necromancy is his bread and butter, and I don't know much about it, but I know some magic, so I hope maybe together and with my uncle too, we can maybe find something out about this book.
Yeah. And more or less, you kind of take turns with your father with the Necronomicon as he's trying to use it to undo the poison he did to Bartleby. You can tell he must have like spent like a couple months preparing this thing to go poison him with. Like he meant to do like a scorched earth one day, like take this place out and leave job,
Yeah.
and it's very long, but every day Bartleby becomes a bit more energized and a little less clouded, and every once in a while he'll have some old memories come back to him, and he'll tell you something of your mother, like a student she taught, or her first day of teaching, or the time she actually created thousands of dandelions that covered the landscape white as a blizzard until your father found a way to obliterate them, presumably with this very book.
Yeah. Well, that was a nice story until that last part. But yeah, speaking of that too, it would be also to like straight up, once he's better, ask Bartleby more about the Death Titan too, on top of that.
Yeah, and he more or less says, well, there are many things to tell of that Titan. What specifically would you like to know?
Well, it seems to be causing a lot of problems. Is there a way to stop it, or seal it, or, heaven forbid, kill it?
Old Cobb is one of the more difficult Titans. The three of us that were part of spiritual matters, myself, Keno, and him, had much more to do with the goings-on of mortals than the other ones, who had more to do with the shape of the spiral. Thus, breaking it and putting it into different places made them more vulnerable to the sleep. But because that there is still life and death, dreams and ambition, the three of us were much more able to withstand my spell. The Death Titan could be killed, potentially. In his weakened state, Kennel might have brought him just low enough for that to be possible. Though, when Kennel fell, it was what we called divine magic, which came from beliefs, deepest practices, desires, intentions, was shattered. It took many years for it to regain some level of use, and even then, it was never practiced in the same fashion. It is beyond doubt to say that necromantic spells would have a similar drought should he fall, but many other spells and magics would remain in question.
So
Ones that not even I can foresee the true scope, but I foresee at the very least that the cycle of life would continue on. More or less because Kennel has died, yet you still have dreams, ambition, and the ability to create.
So you're saying we'd need more than a cat with a crossbow to do the job, right?
Yes, it would require much more foundational study, and I suspect a great deal more powerful effort.
No. Well, I think we're literally reading the Death Titan's book, so we might find some answers or weaknesses in there.
Yeah, the tree can't really nod, but he does I guess he just makes a confirmative sound.
Well, I'll maybe be back to talk to you some more, Big B. Big B. Wait a minute. Did you create that spell?
No,
Oh.
I do not have hands.
Okay. Just checking. And I go back off to the school. Maybe cut back to just me and my father, maybe like looking at this book, and I tell him, this is just always awkward every day, and I thought it would get less awkward, but it do you feel the same way, Dad?
In truth, I do, in some respects, feel the same way. It is more so because this place reminds me of, well, everything I used to have, I want to have, things I don't have. And I don't know if I'm living in the past or the future while I'm here.
Well, I guess that makes two of us because, you know, I always thought I would, like, before I was expelled from Pigswick, I thought I would go on to be this great mage that would conquer the spiral with a single flick of my wand, but, you know, I ended up going just out into the world of adventure. Well, first I was just killing rats inside of basements, but that's beyond the point. I got there eventually, and it's just weird going back to school considering everything I've done.
Yes, but I do believe that you feel this is more up to your speed, don't you? There is no curriculum, there is no one over your shoulder. They're over my shoulder, but not yours.
I don't know, it's just weird, maybe. It's just, I liked going out there, and no offense, thwarting people who were too big for their britches. Or maybe I'm too big for my britches.
Well, every teacher here has gone on some kind of a journey like that, other than, I think, that new life professor. Quite honestly, I don't think she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, I think we had her look at some of your goo, and she didn't really give us a decisive answer.
Well, I'm not surprised. You would have to be quite a good life wizard in order to determine that it was created with the Necronomicon.
Yeah. By the way, I completely forgot to tell you about this, but that weird dragon. Yeah, I pull out those replay crystals of, like, things that referenced it. We actually saw it, and I don't know, something was just, something threw me off about that thing.
Do you play the replay crystal for Alistair?
Yeah, for citation.
Yeah, and he says, I'm aware that this is the Dean's voice.
Yeah.
Been long enough, I actually don't remember his name. I saw him very few times. Though this Kronos has never appeared before me, yet at the same time he desires my work. I fear it raises more questions than answers. But I don't think, even if he had appeared to me that long ago, I ever would have given him the Necronomicon. And perhaps he already knew that, and it's why he saw others as easier to manipulate than the prior scholar who had brought its potential to bear.
Yeah, it's just, Usually when we encounter someone, I can usually get a gauge of their motives, but I could not get a gauge of that thing's motives. And I don't know, something just... It unsettled me.
I can't say I know what to tell you. Other than, I hope we do not run across that creature again.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It didn't even do anything to me. Didn't even try to take it by force, which I thought it would. It's just... Yeah, never mind. Let's look at this book.
Yeah. And, over your studies here, you find it somewhat hard to crack until Meg comes to visit from Pigswick, and she says she's actually switched to divination since her time in the spiral seems to have made her rather good at peering into things and understanding stuff. And it's working with her that you will finally begin to crack something about it. And what you're able to discover is the Necronomicon seems as if it has always existed. Or perhaps that it itself is an ageless entity from beyond the spiral. It's as if it just never has a beginning. What's more is this book of life and death, you are further able to discover there is no connection between it, Bartleby, and the Death Titan. It would sound like it was a book co-scribed by those two, but it has no connection to either one.
I guess that would make sense because, maybe the beginning, if it's existed forever, it's just life and death has always been forever.
Yeah. It kind of unsettles Meg because she's beginning to get confidence in her divination abilities, and now she's just more or less getting stonewalled by this thing.
Oh, yeah, don't worry about that. That's just, a stone. There's always a way through a stone wall. You just cast shape stone.
Yeah, she's...
Well, and we have the windstone still, so that's another thing we can look into. That will give us more hints onto El Dorado, I guess.
Yeah. And that's what your studies lead to.
Okay.
All right. Are we good to move on to Max? Okay. So what is Max up to during this period of time?
He's moving.
Yeah. You probably interact with most of the party members during this time period, going between Devin and back over to Marleybone.
Yeah. He gets his lucky stone back from Devin now that he has a free attunement slot. And then he packs up his boxes into each other, gets them on a boat, sells his house, and heads back to Marleybone, where he'd probably get a house at least on the same street, if not in the same building as his parents. Then after that, he would probably do what he said and just go start seeing if he can train up some guys for the military. And meet up with Daelen too.
Yeah. Yeah, for some reason, Daelen is hanging out with these guys with weird names of Bean, Reggie, and Rex from time to time. And, what code word do you want the Special Forces trained by you to be referred to as?
Oh, Let's see here. Agent Box. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not good at coming up with things on the spot like this. Oh,
We'll figure it.
Hornet.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Name it after your signature blade. And yeah, believe it or not, you're actually moved up the chain from Lana to a guy named Mycroft.
Mycroft, okay.
And you're kind of over several races, not just foxes now, but it definitely seems like they're, more or less the ones that they send to you because they trust that you will keep them from being miscreantal.
Yeah. And I make sure that they are treated well.
Yeah. And so far it seems like your expectations are being upheld, and Mycroft is beginning to get more pleased with what they are able to accomplish. And again, we might hear more about that during Quin's section, because you said you had interest in accompanying him on one of those Skyforge expeditions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And unfortunately, dairy matriarchs, they had to quit selling chocolate ice cream.
Oh, that's too bad.
It turned out that it was not healthy for dogs, and it was a whole conspiracy.
Guess we're back
Probably
to
not healthy
vanilla.
for cats either.
Now we have to go to Grandma Dean for the chocolate.
Yeah. That's right. She still has the contraband chocolate in her floorboards. So, every once in a while you might take a venture to Albion with Daelen and get some of the goods. Maybe you'll share some cookies with the boys sometimes at Dairy Matriarchs. Yeah, and I should say that Miss Dean is fairly pretty proud of what you're doing, and she more or less says that she thought it was impossible that anyone would even that her skills that were supposed to kill these people is now the thing that is making them come together and set aside their differences through killing other people.
Out of all the things that have happened in this adventure, probably just being told that by Grandma Dean probably makes Max feel the best, other than, saving his parents.
Well, I mean, they kind of are still being used to kill people. It's just now those people are robots.
Yeah.
Friends kill each other, kill people together.
Yeah, but Samurai Jack's taught us, robots aren't exactly people. It's fine. No offense, Quinn.
I'm not a person anymore. Oh no.
And yeah. If that's everything, we'll move on to Quinn. All right. So what is Quinn up to during this time?
So, traveling back to Valencia with Rodolfo, Quinn is just going through his mind all the different plans and things that he wishes to set in motion. He's ready to change Valencia and change the spiral. So, heading into Valencia, the first thing he does is contacts Captain Steed and make a proposal to be a general for the rebellion and to help build up the rebellion's credibility so that they can then approach the throne and make the rebellion officially recognized by the crown.
Yeah, and it's a very slow process because the crown still doesn't believe that the Clockworks are doing anything wrong, and they still have many Clockworks that are very good at pulling the strings in the right direction, even with Kane gone, that keep them in this alluring luxury. But with the resources that the Resistance has gained from, at the very least, acquiring Sevilla, they're able to blockade Skyforge and prevent Armada shipments from getting in and beginning a long siege that you oversee. They still have firepower in there, but you know that they are going to be cut off. And while the crown is not turned to assist you yet, you are now able to protect the people who in Florenza that do speak out against the Armada and remove the Armada troops that would otherwise eliminate them. And so, while it's a slow process, Florenza is beginning to wake to their true situation. And much of the Lorenzo Manor had its most valuable research taken after your report of eliminating him, but you're still able to walk in these familiar halls and study, and it is more or less your inheritance, and you're at liberty to continue his work with every artifact you recover from the Armada.
And I imagine whenever Quin isn't actively commanding troops or working on the fight, he just spends time trying to research what he can about the Windstones and El Dorado, and also he almost, it's almost like he sees ghosts almost as he kind of relives these memories, where it's almost like kind of seeing the same things he saw when he was first with Lord Lorenzo, but in color this time. Certain phrases and things that Lord Lorenzo would say comes back to him and makes more sense now that he understands emotions a little better. And he just remembers Lord Lorenzo always asking him to take a seat, and he would always refuse, saying that, you know, seats are irrelevant, that they don't need them. And being in here, remembering that for the first time in a very long time, Quin sits down at what's his own office starts to feel more like a person than ever, as he also plans how to break into Skyforge with Max and his crew, possibly to break into Kane's office and find out even more information.
Yeah. And speaking of that, with Max and his Hornet team, along with a little bit of help from Rodolfo, you're able to get an expedition into Kane's office before you make any big moves against Skyforge in case it would have been destroyed. And amongst what you find, there isn't anything of major value, but you find it's like a gift almost in his office, but just kind of it looks like it was thrown away, but it never made it to the trash. And inside of it you find a blueprint of some kind to some primitive clockwork, and there's a broken ceramic in there that has a small curvature to it and rounded edges and some ovular shape cut out of it, and the blueprints are signed Gazpacho, and you realize that this is a homemade Armada mask, and on the documents there's a scratched out part of it that eventually you're able to deduce says mind and heart. But this blueprint seems to predate the Armada.
Well, this is very interesting. I wonder if this Gazpacho is the one who made the constructs. And if the Armada were supposed to have both a mind and a heart, how come the only thing we have now is a mind and no heart? As Quin kind of muses out loud as he sees all of this.
It doesn't call for any materials that the rest of the blueprints do, but that part of it specifically does not list any component. That's all it says. It's just mind and heart.
Interesting. I guess, while we're snooping around, has Deacon and Bishop and the other members of the council, are they still around, or did they take off with Kane?
Yeah, you're still investigating with Max and stuff, but from what the Hornet squad is able to tell you, you're pretty sure that they all went with him, or if he did leave some behind, he did not leave them in Valencia.
Well, it sounds like we may have quite the battle on our hands when we make it to El Dorado, then.
Was there ever any doubt about that?
No, there really wasn't, but, well, hopefully we'll have more answers by then. At the very least, we have been able to take away some of their firepower.
All right, and is that it for Quin?
That's pretty much it.
All right. And so, lastly, the place that you all called home, with Skull Island and Avery, they are not yet recognized as a sovereign nation. However, their relationships and ventures with Marleybone, Grizzleheim, Wisteria, and the Valencian Resistance have substantially improved. Welcoming greater trade, and Avery's Republic is becoming closer to the pirate haven he hopes it to become. He wants it to be the home of the adventurous, the risk-takers, and the talented. And all of the factions expand: the musketeers, the privateers, the swashbucklers, the buccaneers, and the witch doctors all see expansion as their reach and commerce grow, and so does the main city itself. And the cleanup crew is given a permanent residence in Avery's court rather than just a small office space. And you are also granted a seat in the Republic Council, with one vote to share collectively, only applied to meetings when the crew has 50% attendance or more.
But there's 5 of us, so there's got to be 3.
Yeah. And yeah, I'll leave you with one last memory from Urge.
Wait, real quick. Do Devin and Eckert count separately?
Loophole.
You know, that's gonna have to bring the witch doctors into account, and whether they can get all of them to have 2 votes, because they like to do the same thing you do a lot, and the legislation is slowing things down significantly. You know, you may hear Mordecai at some point say, "We count bodies, not visitors."
Worth a shot.
Yeah. But while you're studying Rennial one of these days with the witch doctors, which has proven to be quite difficult, as you can imagine, you have one memory of Zersai come. And he says, "We discovered that with a mind stone and a spirit crystal, we could create new life. We sought to take our discovery to its limits, and very nearly created that which we swore we would destroy. This creature and its own creations are sealed in Xibalba. Our wonders and our horrors remain there. Those who stayed in Zol'Kul chose to become living dead, so should a sign that its release came, they would rise to strike back against our greatest failure. All right, and with that spooky note, let's go talk about some highlights from the campaign.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let you think on the spookiness for a bit. But I'll kind of go for a few. I think one of my favorite moments from Quin was when he shoved a face full of silver powder down his throat in public.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah. One of my favorite moments from Max was choosing to save Kieran out of a favor to Bonnie when you could have just let him go. One of my favorite moments for Faris was using haste while disguised as a Coven member to obliterate their action economy before the fight even began. I think one of my favorite moments from Devin was when you shouted, "You still get the aura!" when you were thrown by the brawlers at Faris. And I enjoyed Daelen making the war balloon just because it was a solution I did not anticipate for and loved to see flourish. And I think my favorite thing from Valerian in this campaign was when she first met Max and immediately decided that, "Max, you're my new best friend," when he went on his first murder spree. And kind of overall as a group, I think that you guys spending the rest of the day with Nita Pack before he passed away and let him see the sunrise again is, I think, probably one of my favorite things you've just accomplished in this campaign in general. And yeah, I don't know if anyone else has any highlights or things that you enjoyed from the campaign you want to talk about.
I'm like going off things at the top of my head. I liked the party split when Max and Devin went off in Marleybone, and just the rest of us were just eating at Dairy Matriarchs.
Yeah, the Marleybone arc was just a good one because you had all that. You had Bean, Rex, and I can't remember the last one, but
Rex, Reggie, and
yes, Rex, Reggie, and Bean, and just the way that they were played just out of nowhere, just made the NPCs so memorable.
Yeah.
Despite me forgetting one of their names.
I mean, that was all you guys.
I was bragging to my friends how cool that was. But yeah, for me, I really liked when we had a bit of a fallout and gave Faris a birthday to make it up to him, so...
I'll say I liked some of like our fights that cut pretty close. In particular, you know, the one with Val and Wisteria, that was a pretty insane one. And also the fight with the mind flayers was also very memorable, with a T-Rex getting stuck in a little pipe underwater.
Oh yeah, there was also the big monkeys fighting trees and...
Yeah, just the ending too, in terms of like close battles, of like if that Necro Hulk got that recharge, it like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
I really liked the moments when, like, and I'm struggling to think of a specific example, but I know we pulled it off a couple of times where we have, like, okay, here's this plan we're gonna execute, and, like, everybody in the party has, like, their thing that they're really good at, and just, like, we really got to see the individual strengths of the party members and how they all came together to let us execute this ridiculous plan.
Yeah, I think the Valencia arc is pretty
Yeah.
indicative of that.
Yeah, even in the like party split part of it where it was just Max, what do you see? And there's this over here, guys. I loved Silent Speak suddenly turning to Animal Crossing speak.
I also liked how rock grubs were an introductory monster.
Gosh.
Well, they never got into us, so.
Well, yeah, you can tell because we're all still alive.
I still have no idea what they did. I'm like, cool. Yeah, we didn't die, I guess. It was fine to me.
It's hard to think of stuff off the top of my head, but yeah, there's
Yeah.
some standout moments.
Yeah, I mean, I think that alone is still a good showing.
Yeah.
I mean, I also remember the Pinto Pegasus.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and how there's still like a ship just floating in the middle of the
Oh yeah, they put the plaque up around that thing that says "Haste is a good spell, fight me."
And there's the Max floating out in the middle of nowhere.
Isn't it in like a hold somewhere?
Yeah, you left it in your Valencia boat, so it's still at Skyforge. They can't dispel it, by the way. So
Yeah, it's just like they like finally find that thing, and it's just like Max smiling at them.
There's
like
nothing you guys can do about it.
I like to think it's like smiling at the back side of the wall, just because they try to like touch it to make it turn around, and they just can't. Then they look. Then they like turn their face around to see it, and it's just that face smiling, and they're like, oh, "I wish I hadn't looked at that."
We must rescue him one day.
He'll go in Max's box collection, scare someone.
Gosh. I still have a pretty old one
It's
that
in
I
a
remember
box.
as a favorite. It was just way back when during the body taker plant fight. Max's near one-shot crit.
Yeah. Then I also tried to open the door before him, and then I fell into a hole for 4 rounds.
Yeah, there were
I
so
think-
many enemies there too.
I think that was the first time Max said that his the next shot won't be an accident line.
Yeah, it was because you literally saved my life. Like Quin would 100% be dead if there was even like a single more turn going on there.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll think of several once we're off air too. But
As it always
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
you know, I think we filled in like the time with what I wanted to with the highlights. But yeah, I'm proud of what you guys did in this campaign, and I'm happy with how it turned out. As far as the viewers go, you know, we might return to this one day in the future for an extended campaign, or we might choose to do it off stream. We'll see. But if we do stream it here, well, it will be here. But yeah, thanks for watching this and for coming along with the cleanup crew this far. And yeah, so long. Sayonara.
Bon voyage.
Bye.
Bye.
Like,
Get out of here.
It's over. You can leave now.
Yeah.
There's nothing left.
Nothing
home.
funny is going to happen in the next 10 minutes.
Okay, goodbye.
Secret ending.
Secret level up.
That's all there is.
There's no level up to it. But yeah, we may be back whenever we are, so bye-bye.
Bye.